Hola amigos de Wine News TV, les invito a conectar conmigo y con mis invitados en Wine News TV On The Go, un podcast que a su vez es un espacio donde aprenderás sobre el mágico mundo del vino a través de invitados de todas partes del mundo que nos contarán sobre sus proyectos para obsequiarnos de forma embotellada música, fuego y leones, como decía el gran maestro argentino Jorge Luis Borges en su poema Soneto al Vino. Hola amigos de Wine News TV, seguimos aquí en los Finger Lakes informando de los vinos que están saliendo de esta zona, vinos espectaculares. Estoy con Brittany Gibson aquí en la casa de Fox Run Vineyards y vamos a hablar del Seneca Wine Trail, una página que ella y su equipo de trabajo tienen en redes sociales para promocionar los vinos de esta zona. Vamos ahora a hablar en inglés como he estado haciendo, pero siempre me gusta saludarlos a ustedes en español. Brittany, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank
Great.
you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I heard about your page through a podcast. I don't remember which one it was, but I typically try and listen or learn about wine while I'm either exercising or driving.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across your page, and I want to understand a bit first before we go into the Seneca Wine Trail project. I want to hear about you, where you're from, whether you were exposed to wine growing up through your parents. Tell the audience a little bit about Brittany, the person behind the project.
Sure. Well, I am a Finger Lakes girl at heart. So I was not born here. I was born in northern New Jersey, but my parents moved my four sisters and I up here when we were very young. So I think I was 3. But I grew up just over the hill from Glenora Wine Cellars. So wine and vineyards have sort of been in my blood from the beginning. I was not raised around wine, though. I really got into wine tourism when I worked at just a part-time tasting room job at Fulkerson Winery when I was in college. So that sort of, the bug bit me a little bit. I have a business degree with a concentration in marketing, and I worked at a winery doing advertising, wine club management, and then went to a chamber of commerce and did tourism marketing there. And then in 2018 took over this role as the executive director of
And your father did not move here because of wine.
He did not. He moved here because the area was so beautiful, and they saw the rapid expansion and growth in New Jersey and wanted to raise their kids in an area that was a little bit more rural.
As I was telling you before we started, I'm blown away with everything that I've tasted and seen and the styles of the wines. Obviously, it's the only style because, the weather, it's what it allows and the soil, but the potential is mind-blowing. I have this sensation, or I will leave with a sensation that we're on the cusp of this breaking out and becoming, right up there with Napa Sonoma, with Willamette Valley, the other big ones, so to speak. At least in my part of the world, the Finger Lakes is known primarily for Riesling, and maybe we have, I think right now in Puerto Rico, we have 7 wineries from the Finger Lakes. From Oregon, we have 47. From California, we have over 100, more than that, maybe twice as many. But, I would like to touch with you on certain things. First and foremost, your effort on the Seneca Wine Trail. What is it that you guys seek to do, and how do they find you in the social media, website, and how people may contact you guys to, explore the region?
Sure. So we're first and foremost a marketing organization. We're a 501c3, which is just a nonprofit association of people who are doing like business together. So similar to Napa Valley Vintners Association or Willamette Valley Vintners Association, the Seneca Lake Winery Association does business as the Seneca Lake Wine Trail. But our job really is to attract tourists to this region to come into our member winery tasting rooms. So we have dues annually, and we turn those dues as well as special event revenues from wine and food event tickets that we sell to our weekend events, which take place during the shoulder season generally, to raise funds to help turn that relatively small investment that our member wineries make and turn it into about $500,000 marketing investment.
That's incredible.
We have a national digital media buy that we oversee. Obviously, our social media is big. We're on Instagram and Facebook as well. We have a public relations contract with a public relations firm. Our website sees about 400,000 annual visitors. So we're just focused on growing the awareness and bringing people to the area.
And do you see from that traffic, is it mainly local from the United States, or do you see traffic coming from other parts of the world? Because I do know that in the wine sectors, at least, and I consider myself part of the sector as a content creator, if you will, that there is this giant recognition that the wines from here are amazing, or that they will be amazing very soon. But those who are not wine geeks, and I say this including myself in that category, maybe know about the U.S. Wine industry because of California.
Sure.
And I'm speaking about people in Latin America or in Europe. Like, from the traffic that you analyze, the data, do you see people coming in outside of the United States, mostly from Europe, South America?
We have very little traffic to our website that's outside of the United States. We have some core audiences that we work on, and then we rely on organizations like the New York Wine and Grape Foundation and Finger Lakes Wine Country. We look at it as an umbrella, if you will. So our hope is that the New York Wine and Grape Foundation will be out internationally telling the story of New York wine, and then it will trickle down through effective partnership, hopefully, to the Seneca Lake Wine Trail.
I was talking to Mr. Medill the other day, and I was sharing with him that I do believe that there is an incredible opportunity of growth, or for growth, for these styles of wines in my neck of the woods.
Absolutely.
Because I come from an area that's really hot. We have a giant cruise ship industry. We have neighboring islands everywhere, and people go out there to have fun, have a drink or two. I do believe that certain people nowadays are trying to dial back on the alcohol, and perhaps are moving from spirits to wine. A lot of people are trying to, vodka, rum, whiskey, it's a little strong, and they are trying to understand wine and or craft beers, as we know that. And because of the season, the season in Puerto Rico, at least, is summer all year long. And even this time of the year, it can get cool at night, but there's always a lot of sun out there. Why do you think people in my part of the world should come to explore the wines from here, either through a visit or through purchasing a Finger Lakes wine?
I think first that if you come here, everyone is just enthralled with the beauty of the region. Everyone sort of sees it on social media or sees it on a website, and they think, wow, that's really pretty. And then they come here and they go, no, this is like next level gorgeousness. And then you go to Watkins Glen State Park, and it feels like you've stepped into a Tolkien novel. It's incredible. And so you have this incredible scenic beauty, wonderful hiking, boating, on the water activities. And then there's this amazing wine experience, right? So to me, our uniqueness is that you have all these wonderful attributes that maybe if you go to other wine regions, there might be one or two of those things, but we can check so many boxes, and it's so incredibly affordable to come here, right? Our tastings are $10 to $12 a taste. Right? For a standard flight.
And the geographical convenience. From Puerto Rico, I took a plane that was 3.5 hours from San Juan to JFK, and then you can do an hour in a plane and you're in Rochester. Also from Spain, you can cross the pond in 7 hours. Right. It's not like going to
fly into New York, right?
To the other part of the country,
and then on the value side, in terms of the wine itself, obviously we're known for Riesling, right? But then again, once people are here and they're able to taste more of what we have, the sparkling wines are knocking people's socks off. Yeah. The red varietals like Lemberger, Blanc Frankish, Cab Franc are just blowing people away. So I think folks in Puerto Rico would enjoy our Rieslings because they are so crisp and refreshing, and our Chardonnays are equally wonderful. All great with spicy food, obviously, which Puerto Rican cuisine is wonderful for that. And yeah, I think it's just a no-brainer. It's why aren't we bringing more of our friends from Puerto Rico here to the Finger Lakes? Hopefully we can change that in the future.
Yeah, and also for sure, and you can count me as a pro bono ad honorem ambassador of your wines. We also think back home that, and I do believe that in New York they see it the same way, because of you guys have a Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City. There are strong bonds of friendship and ties of community between Puerto Rico and New York, and it's just a matter of putting people in front of New York Finger Lakes wines and glasses and have them taste and try them, and the value. Some wines here you can get for $17, $18 a bottle, and they're delicious. They're crisp and clean, and
they're on top 100 lists, right, of wine enthusiasts and Food and Wine. It's just again, I think here in the region we don't talk enough about the value, right? And I don't mean the deal you're getting,
Mm-hmm.
but truly the value of the incredible wine that you're drinking at a price per bottle that is just, if you were to purchase it from other wine regions around the world, it'd be 2 or 3 times that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
but it's difficult, right? Because as soon as you start talking value, people think bargain. But that's obviously not the path we're going down. It's just that phenomenal wine does not have to be prohibitively expensive.
Yeah, and also they're very gastronomic. You have a wide
Yes.
range and a you know a palette of sorts that you can paint with, which is so extensive. I was trying today Georgian grape. What is the name?
Saparavi.
Saparavi, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have that intense nose, gorgeous, and then you have very delicate mineral, crisp, clean
Mm-hmm.
Rieslings.
Mm-hmm.
There's just this incredible range. What have you? How long have you been working with the Seneca Wine Trail and the Finger Lakes Wines
Uh-huh.
Association? How many years now?
So I've been with the Wine Trail for 6 years.
6 years. That's perfect. I wanted you to say 5 or a little
Yeah.
more.
Uh-huh.
So over this past 6 years, what have you seen in terms of pros, cons, gains, areas of opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see more people coming, more like the visit to the website? Have you seen more traffic?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is Do you see an upward trend in terms of people noticing you guys?
I think so. We've had a huge increase in traffic since 2018 to the Wine Trail website specifically, double-digit increases each year. Traffic to our tasting rooms has been a little soft this year, but it's difficult to say, is it soft compared to last year or is it soft compared to pre-COVID? Because what we experienced here in 2020 was a complete shutdown of our tasting rooms from March until the end of June. And then we could reopen with very tight, very specific parameters. Tastings had to be seated. You had to serve food with the wine. Most places really cut back on the number of guests they could welcome in any party, and took reservations instead of just walk-ins. And so the model in our tasting rooms changed completely. Many wineries kept that model because it worked really well. They found that it allowed them to better serve their guests. But we saw a huge influx of visitors from New York City in those first couple of years post-COVID because people were still a little bit leery of getting on a plane and flying across the country or flying over to Europe to go to wine regions. And I think in concert with the really persistent marketing efforts we were conducting in New York City and the New York City Metro, that coupled with just the hesitancy to get on a plane and visit wine regions, I think lots of folks in New York City were finally saying, because we've always struggled to crack that nut, right? New York City is 4 hours from here, and we just could never get those. It just seemed like we were never quite successful in getting those folks to make the jump.
Yeah.
But I think they realized, what? We've heard about the Finger Lakes. I saw it online, or a friend talked to me about it. Let's go check it out. And we saw this explosion in Metro New York traffic to the wineries. And that, I think, has trailed off a little bit, but we're going to keep our foot on the gas and keep pushing ahead. I think in terms of the biggest changes, it's been amazing to see. I've been in the industry since 2005, so more like 15 years. It's the awareness is incredible, right? Like if I go on vacation somewhere down south and I've got a Finger Lakes shirt on, someone always comes up to me and says, my gosh, I love Finger Lakes Riesling, or oh my gosh, I've had this sparkling wine from the Finger Lakes and it's amazing. So just the knowledge, right? Where even 10 years ago, right? If I wore that sweatshirt out somewhere, people would be like, what the heck is a Finger Lake, right?
Yeah.
So
I agree with you. About 5 years ago, the beginning of COVID, I did a live interview with Madeline Pouquet from Wine Folly, and I asked her, so what do you think people are going to be talking in 2030, 10 years from now,
right,
about, the next big thing? Like, if you can see the future, tell me. And she said, still wines from Portugal. Portugal makes fantastic wines. And if you were to ask me, not that I am comparing with Madeline, of course, but if you were to ask me, I would say Finger Lakes wines. I would definitely say that. After this past 4 days here, I still have 1.5 days here, and I hope to come back if I can, soon, because these are the types of wines that I am enjoying nowadays. Wines that do not want to try and steal the thunder from the food, but they know how to play second fiddle. They know that they're there to support the experience. And I think that this is on the cusp of breaking into something huge.
I think the other big difference is sustainability. And I don't mean that that's new for our wineries. I think it's them recognizing we should talk more about this, because as I tell people all the time, Finger Lakes wineries have undertaken sustainable efforts or done things sustainably for many, many years. Right here where we're sitting, Foxtrot Vineyards is a lake-friendly farm, right? That's a certification that's 20 plus years old. No one has really talked about that, right? But
let's do it now. Tell me about the commitment to sustainability.
So it's really incredible. If you're a lake-friendly farmer, it's essentially that's a self-audit, and you agree that you're basically not going to do anything that
take me a step back for those out there that may not know what being a sustainable winery or wine region is. Many people would think, well, you're picking grapes and making wine. How does that affect the environment or the planet? Talk to me about sustainability, maybe 2 minutes.
Sure. Well, in a cool climate region, obviously, we have challenges, right? We have fungus and bacteria and things like that you wouldn't otherwise have if you were in a very arid wine growing region. But the New York Wine and Grape Foundation has recently undertaken an initiative called the New York Sustainable Vineyard. And that is actually audited. It's not a self-reported anything. It's you go through a process, you submit records, they come and inspect your vineyard, they come and inspect your production facility, and you can be certified sustainable. And that's really incredible because the proximity to the lake of all of our vineyards, right? We're very respectful and just mindful of the fact that everything we do trickles down to the lake, literally and figuratively. And we know without Seneca Lake, it's the deepest of the Finger Lakes. It's over 620 feet deep at its deepest point. If something happens to that lake, these vineyards won't be here anymore. It's just not possible. We can grow grapes here because that lake never freezes. It creates a warm air mass that protects the vines in the wintertime, promotes cool air drainage in the summer and the hotter seasons. And so just talking more about sustainability and those efforts is a way of helping to share the message that those things matter to us. They've mattered to us for a really long time, and that we're not just on the bandwagon because all of a sudden sustainability is a thing, right?
You've been doing it for a while, even before it became sort of, the it thing. Or
as I said, the lake-friendly farmer distinction was something that was started at the county level here in the state of New York, and certain counties subscribe to it, mostly those around the lakes. And in order to you can see the signs, they're old at this point, right? Because it's something that has, I don't want to say it's fallen out of favor, but now that the more stringent sustainable vineyard certification from the New York Wine and Grape Foundation has come through, most wineries have now switched over to that. But it's a matter of, that lake-friendly farmer certification started in the early 2000s. So long before anybody was talking about sustainability as a real thing.
I also see something that's quite beautiful that I do not see in other parts of the world that I visited, is this sense of cooperating with your neighbor. Community. We sink or we swim together. That's gorgeous. My last question, because I know you have your family, it's a Sunday. Wine content creators, people with platforms. I have, a segment in television. How can we be of help to the region, to the area? Because, in Puerto Rico, we don't have our own wines. We don't produce our wines. We are American citizens, proud American citizens, and we have access to, some of the best wines from our nation. How can we be of help?
I think doing what you're doing now, just come and see it for yourself and then go back home and share it with 5 friends, right? The way that we crossed paths was you messaged our page on Instagram and I got right back to you. So the beauty of our organization, I'm the one that manages our Instagram. I'm the one that manages our Facebook. When you message us on Pinterest, you're getting me directly. And I think that that's really powerful. That's a big part, as you said, the community and the collaborative nature of our region is that we are exactly what you get, right? What you see is what you get. Right. And it's not some agency somewhere managing our handles, because there's something lost in that message if you farm it out that way. So just keep spreading the good word. Come visit.
Can you share an email? Where can they reach you?
Absolutely.
Aside from the Instagram, if anybody from any of the 27 countries that now listen to our episodes, they want to reach out, come and visit, or get your assistance in planning a tour, finding out where to stay, where to eat, how can they reach you?
They can email info@senecalakewine.com.
That's great. That's fantastic. Gracias, mi gente. Ya escucharon a Brittany Gibson directamente desde el Seneca Wine Trail page en Instagram. La pueden seguir y aprender un poco más de esta región maravillosa que está haciendo algunos de los mejores vinos, no de Estados Unidos, del mundo. Algunos de los mejores vinos del mundo. Les doy las gracias por escuchar hasta aquí y les envío un gran abrazo. Recuerden que en el camino del vino cada uno hace su propia ruta a su paso y que lo importante no es la meta final, sino el recorrido o el viaje. Será hasta la próxima. Bye bye. Este fue el episodio de hoy. Recuerda dejarnos una reseña para que nos ayudes a crecer, suscribirte y recomendarnos con tus amigos amantes del vino. No importa cuán avanzado estés en el recorrido de enamorarte de aquello que decían sobre el vino. Son uvas transformadas en poesía. Aquí hay espacio para todos. Salud y como siempre, dale share.